Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ram and Goat Astrology. I'm Laura Lee.
And I'm Helena. Welcome.
And
Now we're here every week.
We're here every week again.
Yeah, I like it.
I know. We were. I
Like the
felt like
old
I was
days.
missing you.
Yeah, no, even though, I see you a lot more than like some of my friends here in Sweden and Stockholm. Still, it feels like seeing each other every second week felt like ages in between.
Yes.
I think we were just also so used to like meeting up every week to
We've been
talk
doing
about.
this for a while. This
Yeah,
is,
a long time.
we went to school together, and that's where we met, and we were partnered up. For those of you that don't know, and then we were partnered because we were the two procrastinators of the group, and
Yep.
and ta-da! And then we kept meeting for like study buddy stuff, and then eventually that turned into what you're listening to now.
Basically, yeah, we never did the homework, as I recall it. We were just like, by the way, what do you think about this thing about astrology? And what about this in your life? La, la, la. But I guess both of us were like missing that other person to talk astrology,
Yeah.
like life with.
Because it's a conversation that is so cool when someone else can have it. But otherwise, you're just
Yeah.
thinking about it by yourself, and it gets a little boring.
But it's like speaking a language and the other person doesn't like. It's like speaking Greek to someone who doesn't understand Greek.
Right. You could start speaking Swedish to me, and I would just
Yeah.
smile and nod and go, "Wow, that sounded
Yeah.
cool."
Yeah, but very one-sided.
It would. And that was most of my life, really, because I was studying astrology probably since the early 2000s. Really is when I started getting into it. When the internet became a thing, really is when I started really diving deep into it, and getting books and stuff from the library and just anything I could grab. And but I didn't have anyone to talk about it with or talk to about it. So when COVID started and things went online, and then more courses were getting advertised to people, and then I stumbled upon Deborah Silverman's courses, and it just opened up a world that I didn't know I needed. And
Right.
And here we are.
Yeah. And it's been like, I don't even know. I think we're going on year number 3 almost. Like, I think we're close to year number 3 now.
I think we are.
Wow. Yeah.
This is the longest I've
That's
done.
crazy.
Done
this is the longest relationship I've ever had. No.
Well, as far as
it's the longest, what's it called? Long distance relationship I've ever had.
Yeah, as far as long distance goes, absolutely. Yeah. I think for sure it's been fun and flexible. And that's the key for both of us, right? Is having the flexibility.
Yeah.
And, to record it with somebody on the other side of the world is a little bit of a time challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have very different schedules, and neither of us has any kind of set schedule or consistent schedule.
We have very flexible, crazy schedules.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a very interesting dynamic that we got going on, and somehow we figure it out. Even right now, you're on vacation.
Yeah. We both have so much of that curiosity. It must be that like the Gemini Sag vibes.
I think so.
It must be. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and your Venus and Gemini, and my Gemini moon and rising.
Yeah.
And there's so much
I think
flexibility.
That's it.
And,
yes.
And then the curiosity, right? We're always so curious about things and what's going on in each other's lives. And I love learning about foreign countries and foreign people, and like, what's it like for you over there? And here's what it's like for me over here. And
yeah,
I don't know, that shit just gets me. I love it.
Yeah. And for those who have just started listening to us, maybe you just found us now. We have so many episodes on so like all types of different like themes around astrology. We have a lot of guests. Now we haven't had guests for a while, but it's like everything with us. It just it's very like it comes and goes, and it evolves and it changes. It's like constant change.
Absolutely, and I think that's the key to our ability to keep doing this, is evolving and changing. And when we went to 2 episodes a month, it was because our lives were just asking for that. We had a lot of transition. It was during the time frame where all the planets were trekking through Pisces and Aries and back and forth, and Pisces and Aries. It was like, do we go back? Wait, so we were like, let's just do every other right now.
And I think a big part of why we are still here, and we're still very I mean, we're pretty consistent. If you look to like the like time we have been doing this, we've been pretty good at being consistent. And I
Absolutely.
think that's because we do look at us to astrology to see what's going on. Like, oh, now what's your solar return chart? How like things are changing for you. How do we need to do
Exactly.
it now? What's the transits right now? Okay, we're not recording today because this is just like let's just skip it. We're not going to accomplish anything. And like
Yep.
that really helps everything. And so could you guys who are listening, like with work relationships, with everything, it's just makes it really easy when you know the other person's chart and
It
you can talk astro to each other.
it's so important. Even if you're just starting to understand astrology and just starting to apply it, it's so helpful to know your friend's moon sign and their Venus sign. And then of course Mars, right? How do they get angry
Yeah.
and argue, or what's going on with ego energy. So
Mm,
those things are so key when it comes
mm.
to understanding or surrendering or just accepting
Yeah.
what's going on, right? I think I've messaged you more times this year. Now I'm only 2 months into my solar return chart, but I how many messages have you gotten
Many,
from me?
many. You're like, I can't, saying that you can't be flexible anymore because you are now in a very like more solid, earthy energy, and
Structured.
yeah, you need to plan ahead, and that's
Mm-hmm.
something new for you. And like
Heck
with
yeah, it
solar
is.
return charts, it's like yeah, it's another layer that, and always brings new energy, and it comes because you need to learn something from this, and now you have to learn so much about Taurus energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in a.
Or is it Capricorn?
It's Capricorn. Yeah, I'm in a
Yeah.
Capricorn progressed moon. Saturn's very dominant in my chart, and having conversations with everybody in my chart. He's kind of leading my daily routines, and it's a lot of like, Laura, you need some structure. Yes, flexibility within the structure, but you need structure and this
Yeah.
foundational editing. I need to edit
Hmm.
the blueprints of my life. And so I started getting up at I started getting up at 4:50 in the morning and doing a 5 a.m. business call a month and about 5 weeks ago. Boy, that's an interesting shift. And then I told you, I'm like, we need to have something a little bit more structured. And then I really wanted to go back to weekly because I feel like that is kind of that structure that I was
Yes. Yes.
leaning
Yes.
on.
Yeah.
So it's happening and I don't like it.
Oh, yes. Oh, and we like just before we hit record, we were talking about some family stuff, and I said that it reminds me of my solar return chart this year because for the solar return chart, I have a Scorpio ascendant and an Aries moon, and this is very new, very very new energy to me. Like my moon is my natal moon is in Capricorn in the 12th house, not super connected, like not super emotional, like just kind of cool in that area.
Yeah.
And now I have an Aries moon and I have a Scorpio way to see life. So I feel like I keep getting myself sort of into trouble where I feel, and I'm like, I feel uncomfortable because I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I can't wait for this to be over. But I know like I need to learn about this
Mm-hmm.
energy. I was very, very excited about this solar return chart. And it's really, yeah, I've been feeling it all year. Like it's very there.
Yes. It's a
Yeah.
present and very intense solar
Yeah.
return chart. I read for a lady the other day, and her solar return chart, as far as the rising sign and stuff, lined up again with her natal chart. So she was like
Hmm.
normally like a 20-degree Taurus rising, and now her solar return chart was like a 24-degree Taurus rising. So no matter where the placements are, when your sun and your rising line up back kind of where they are natally, it's an easier year. It's in
But
general
that sounds
more.
pretty rare. Like that's yeah.
It's I've seen it a couple times.
Mm.
It's not real common when I do readings, but I've seen it maybe a handful of times, 4 or 5
Mm.
times. And I feel like that energy would feel like like you can take a year of like breather, like this is a more normal, natural kind of energy for you. And that's not what I'm in this year.
Yeah,
I
some
was
years are tougher than other years, for sure.
And I was real apprehensive about this year, just simply because Pluto, for me, my solar return assignment. So this is the assignment for my year. Pluto's in the fourth house in Aquarius. Hot damn, you guys. I have 5 kids. I have 4 dogs. I have a bunch of cats. I have a husband, and we live in like 1,000 square foot house. It's little. And we have a
Mm,
separate building that is like a studio apartment where I record and my art studio and stuff is. And we've kind of made this almost like an overflow of our house. But still, we're out of space. And for those of you who live in tiny houses and all that, bless your heart. I am so glad you can do that. I'm
mm,
losing my shit. And the pressure and intensity in my home is a lot. And I'm not particularly enjoying it. And what's happening with me is that intense, powerful Pluto energy is coming out in very Aquarian ways, very like sparky
mm,
and like electricity. And like I suddenly electrocute somebody with my words or the way I respond. And I know I'm doing it. I can see it. I can feel it.
mm,
I'm aware it's happening. And at the same time, I'm like, well, that could have been handled differently. Shit. Okay.
mm,
I could have taken some deep breaths. I probably should have eaten something before I said anything. Okay. Right. Like there's,
mm.
I can see. And at the same time, like you're like, I just can't keep getting myself in trouble. And
Yeah.
like, I can't kind of control it, but I can, but I can't.
Yeah, and it's funny because I sort of like it because it's new. Like I mean, natally I have my sun square to Pluto,
Yeah.
and so I think I am sort of into it when things get a little bit like more challenging or um like a little uncomfortable almost. At the same time, like I'm fascinated by it.
Right.
I don't particularly, like being in it. It feels uncomfortable, but it does fascinate me.
It
So
does.
yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. It's curious.
Mm.
There's a lot of curiosity, right? I'm like,
Like, let's see what this stingy energy
right?
can where
Absolutely.
it can take me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just that.
Oh, yes. So solar return charts. And I was apprehensive about mine this year for a
Mm.
while because there's so much in the sixth house. It looks like an arrow, a giant
Yeah.
arrow pointed at my sixth house of health, daily routines, how you
Pets.
take care of yourself, pets. You
Mm.
guys,
How
I've
many pets did you get this year so far?
I
So
adopted
far.
Jambu earlier this year, and then Peter Parker came in April, and now I'm fostering a dog, Nala, who needs a home. I don't want to keep her. I'm
Mm.
fostering her, and I'm sure there's more. I'm positive. I
Yeah.
small animals.
But
Oh,
yeah, it's interesting. I love looking at solar return charts because it gives you that second layer. Like, okay, so I have my natal chart. I'm constantly in that and
yep.
working with that, and that
This is
doesn't,
what I'm born with. Yep.
yeah, it doesn't disappear just because you have a birthday every year. It's always there, and then on top of that, you sort of get a new layer, another flavor of something new, and that changes actually depending on where you are when you have your birthday because
Mm-hmm.
if you're not, yeah, because then the ascendant will change
Mm-hmm.
if you're in Stockholm, if you're in Green Bay.
Yep.
So some people actually travel for their birthdays to sort of make it better, but I don't think I would ever do that because that would feel a little bit like trying to get too involved with what's coming. You know what I
I
mean?
agree. I
Like I
agree.
feel like if I would do that, it would just bite me in the butt. It'd be like, "Are you one of this? Here
That
you
might be
go.
your
You got
Saturn
this."
in Sagittarius. That might be
Sorry.
that. That might be your Saturn in Sagittarius.
Yeah.
You have that natal energy there. Maybe that would bite you in the butt, like you personally,
Yeah.
if you did that, right?
Yes, true. No, because I was looking this year. I'm like, maybe I should travel. Where could be a good place to,
Uh-huh.
for my solar return chart? And then I'm like, but honestly, I don't know, like how, because like with astrology, it's not predictions like this will happen.
No.
So it's like, who am I to mess with this? Like, I don't even know what I would want to have. Like, what's a good
Right.
thing to have in your chart? Where do I want my ascendant to be? I don't know. Just give me something, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing I'm learning to surrender to ever since Felix showed up. And I mean, this kid has his moon in the eighth house, so that's
Oh,
me, right?
sorry, there's a big train going past. I'm gonna
Oh, you're
close this
fine.
door.
You're fine. We can't hear anything.
Okay, good, good.
So he's got his moon in the eighth house, and then his sun and conjunct Jupiter in the 12th house, along with like 4 or 5 other planets. This kid came here to teach me and his father how to surrender and let go and like let an old part of us die and be reborn and heal and empathy. Oh my God. We're only 2 years into his birth, and he's an amazing human, but we have to do a lot of let go and a lot
Mm.
of surrender of what we think or what we thought or what we could control or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
it's helpful to know your kids' charts. It's helpful to know their solar return charts and to know what's the lesson? What's the
Mm.
overall arching lesson, right? It doesn't have to be like you have to get deep down into it. But if I know that there's going to be intensity in my home this year and my daily routines are going to be really, really heavily focused, and then my drive
Mm.
and ambition is really to go do work, well, that helps me a lot. I don't even have to know what signs specifically they're in, but at least knowing the areas of life the assignment is focused on this year,
Yeah. And you don't have to fight it. You can
I don't have to
like
fight it.
let it, you can find a way to make it, to make it flow
Mm-hmm.
instead
Exactly.
of being like, oh no, I don't, I want to do this, but I can't because, it's like, okay, this needs to come through. So let's figure out a way I can do this in the best way possible.
So how this showed up for me in business was we've had Anna who does human design, and we've had her on the podcast, and she's a friend of mine and does business with me. And I was doing the Cosmic Mama Collective and growing that, and I had her be one of the contributors, right? One of the collaborators with me. But I should have looked at her solar return chart because the month I had her join as a collaborator, she had a new solar return assignment, and all of her
Mm.
energy was focused on her fourth and fifth house. Well, so you guys know, those are not the business houses, okay? Those
Mm.
that is mama duty. She was in mama land with her twin boys who were in kindergarten going into first grade, and she was heavily involved and invested in stuff at home and couldn't get to work like she wanted to, but that's not where the assignment was for her that year. And
Yeah.
after a couple months of what felt like pushing something uphill, I finally was like, hang on. Let me check your chart. And I pulled
Yeah.
up her solar return chart, and I was like, oh shit, look, duh. Okay. That was dumb of me to not lean into that, to ask her
Mm.
to do business stuff when that wasn't the assignment this year, right? As an astrologer, I'm like, oh, I probably should have known better, but live and learn. Now she's had a new solar return assignment, and it's much more balanced and a lot more up in the ninth, 10th house, 11th house, which that's where we're looking when it comes to contributions to society and work and career and publishing and
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Like generally, those from the first to the sixth house is like more inner work and
Mm-hmm.
around family and stuff. And from the sixth house to the 12th house is more out. Well, the 12th house, count that out, but all the other houses is more like outward to
Yes.
the world,
Yes.
like a little
Yes.
more extroverted, or yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's important that people understand how helpful this can be, because as a business owner, I could have been like, oh, what am I doing wrong? Why isn't this working? Oh, I'm failing. Oh, I could have totally taken that all on my shoulders and
Mm.
I did something wrong or Anna was doing something wrong. When in reality, I looked at her chart and her assignment and went, oh, wow, shoot, not the right timing. Let's
Mm.
check her solar return next year. Oh, there it is. Oh, I just got to wait till her birthday. Okay. I'll focus on something else in the meantime. And I did. And
Yeah,
now her and I have weekly appointments and we're doing business and things are happening and things are rolling. And I was like, look at the difference. Look
yeah.
at the difference. And it was so lovely to just be okay with it. Just
Yay!
be
I love
okay.
that. Like that's like everything when it comes down to it, what it boils down to for me with astrology is sort of acceptance, like leaning in and the acceptance. It's the same like learning your natal chart is getting to know yourself
Yes.
and like accept, yeah, what life lessons you have, how you do react, what you do need to feel safe, all of these things. And this is doesn't, it's not meant to be used as excuses, but it's just like, okay,
No,
I can,
understanding.
I know where this is coming from. And the same then, yeah, with solar return charts to be accepting of, okay, what's this year supposed to be the focus for me? And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
lean into that and things will flow a lot better. Like you said, like you're gonna do other things and wait for her to be ready for that.
Absolutely. And even I've gone back to like my 15th year was horrible. And I
Mm,
went back to that year's solar return assignment and I looked and I was like, oh, that's hard.
mm,
I wouldn't wish this chart on a 51-year-old, let alone a 15-year-old. Like this is a tough energy. And I suddenly had so much more compassion
yeah.
for my 15-year-old self and the shit she went through and the decisions she made or the crappy choices she made. And oh
Mm,
my God, like I just want to go hug her and be like, you did your best with shit energy.
yeah.
Okay. Like this was not good. It was like Saturn on my sun sign, and then this conjunct this and square this, and like it was just freaking awful. It
And
was
it's around the same time when you have a Saturn square to Saturn.
yeah, or
No, hang on. Is
opposition
it?
in
Yeah,
opposition.
it's the first Saturn
Mm-hmm.
opposition around
Mm-hmm.
14.
Yeah, it was
Mm,
so difficult. And once I saw that chart and I was able to really think back on the choices and the decisions and like what happened to little Laura and all of the things, and I'm like,
yeah.
oh, you sweetie, like you did the best you could with really yucky energy and
Mm,
hard lessons. Good job, you. I'm glad you made it out of that as a still a human and not spirit world, right? Like that's where
mm,
it was very dark, very difficult, challenging stuff on a lot of different natal planets and the solar return chart. Like I looked at the transits and stuff. It was and to have so much forgiveness for myself instead of shame
mm.
and guilt. Wow. Talk about healing and growth.
Yeah.
Thanks, astrology. Like, thank you.
No, this just sends massive ripples everywhere because I believe that when you now here in 2025, I mean time is such a weird concept, but
Right.
you here at this space in time or whatever, you're seeing that and you're sending so much love to little Laura and like,
Yeah.
oh, I understand you. Like I wish you understand this. I truly believe that she hears it.
Yeah. 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 I do.
I do.
And I can think about things I was doing when I was 15. And like, I did a lot of art, of course. I threw myself into art and music. That was my outlet. And so I can picture myself like in the band practice room or in the art room and sending her love like while she's doing that art piece or while she's
Mm,
working on that music. Like I can almost like project myself into that moment and
yeah.
be like, hey, you're okay, you got this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I do think that's powerful healing. I really
Hmm.
do. And it really does then start to transcend space and time as we know it, you know.
Mm.
And think about the ripple effect that has then on my children going forward and my mother and grandparents going backwards and just all of it.
Yeah, it goes everywhere. And I heard there's a woman I'm following on Instagram. Her name is Chelsea Diane. She's a poet, and she talks a lot about being a single mom and being. She's a very powerful person. She's a Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
She's like many planets in Scorpio, and very like powerful aura. And she was talking about a time like she was traveling to I think it was Italy and walking towards a place where she remembered that she was like 10, 15 years ago making a really difficult decision. And at that moment, 15 years ago, she remembered hearing a voice inside her say something like, it's okay, go ahead and make and do this.
Yeah.
And now, when she was walking there 15 years later, today, she said those things out loud. And then she realized, she was like, oh my God, I think I was the voice I heard, you know?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I do. I think that's what I'm doing now because when I was 15, girl, there was some dark shit. Like I don't know if you know much about candida and yeast and parasites and stuff, but I was put on birth control for really bad periods. We live in dairy country, and the drink milk campaign was really strong here, and I followed it lovely, and I drank all the milk,
Mm.
and my body does not like that, and it does not do well with that kind of phlegm producing enzymes and stuff. And so the dairy I was consuming and the hormones I was on, the birth control hormones, were just this perfect storm for making candida just thrive in my body, and which causes major mental health issues. I don't know how many of you know that, but if you have yeast or parasites, you have mental health imbalances because of them. I promise you, I've seen it firsthand and I've experienced it. And I really had a lot of like bipolar tendencies. When I was at school, I was very much one person. And then when I was at home, I was very much another. Thanks, Gemini, Moon, and Rising. But it was really challenging on so many levels. And there was some dark times for me. And I do remember hearing voices of hope and help and like walking me through it. And I do genuinely think it's me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of what I know now and because of my confidence in my ability to connect to source and my confidence in my understanding of space and time and non-linear concepts, right? Like I don't know, my Mercury Pisces just grabs that shit and is like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. You've got Mercury and Cancer. Like we just are like,
no questions asked. No question marks. Yeah.
When I hear like, oh, well, this ends up being this and this ends up being this and all of these esoteric far out concepts, my brain just goes, oh.
Yeah.
Shit, all right, I got it. All right.
Yeah, it's like I can see, this is a lot how my brain works. Like I can really understand and grab the concept of everything being so non-linear,
interconnected.
And logical. And I'm like, oh, it's great. I understand that I don't understand it. Makes perfect sense.
Yep.
100%. It's like that. Yeah.
So I do think that going back in time and talking to yourself, I think it's a thing. I absolutely believe that it is a thing, that we have the power to transcend space and time. If you've never seen the movie Interstellar, I highly recommend you watch it because it's this exact concept.
Amazing movie. Yeah. Oh, I love that movie. Yeah.
So Piscean and Scorpionic, isn't it? So
yeah.
Well, in Cancer really too, because they're trying to save their home and their species and their, their families essentially. So very watery concept, nebulous energy. I love that movie. My husband and I could watch that so many times because there's so many deep.
Yeah, there's so many layers.
So many deep layers within it. But there is a layer in there of transcending space and time and talking to yourself and giving yourself messages. And it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I love that. Astrology has been so helpful in our lives. And one of the reasons we share this podcast is because we know how helpful it has been for us and we know how helpful it can be for you. So that's why we do this. And we appreciate you listening. And hopefully this is helpful for you. If you find it helpful, you can share it with somebody or give us a rating or a thumbs up or all of the things, right?
We still have the buy me a coffee and a tea too, I think.
Absolutely. You can buy us a quick coffee that helps us kind of fund the show and supports us that way. So, and we love bringing you concepts that are, educational and helpful and make sense. And if you have a topic or a subject you would like us to cover, or if you'd like to be on the show, let us know. We would love to hear from you.
Yes. All right. Awesome. See you next time.
Thanks, everybody. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us this week. Be sure to like and support the show by sharing with a friend or joining us on Patreon. And you can buy us a tea or coffee and financially support us. Thank you so much. It's so appreciated.